CB signs everywhere. No alcohol if under 21. No tobacco under 21. No vaping supplies under 21. It's 21 for a reason.
Youth that use alcohol are more likely to engage in other risky behaviors, such as gambling. Learn the warning signs and how to talk to your children about addiction.
It's 21 for a reason. Brought to you by CIRAC and funded in partnership with SAMHSA. Find out more at CIRACCT.org.
Life's been tough, and it's even tougher than ever to find a good therapist. But these days, all you hear is, "Sorry, we aren't accepting new patients." Next time, reach out to Life's Journey Counseling Services. They're located on Main Street, right in the middle of Jewett City, and they are accepting new patients right now. Individual, couples, family, and group counseling are all services available at Life's Journey Counseling Services in Jewett City. Find them online at lifesjourneyct.com and click on Book Appointment for information on how to start or to simply get questions answered. Life's Journey Counseling Services has multiple therapists on staff, so your questions, concerns, and counseling needs will all be met. lifesjourneyct.com. It's the best place to start your personal journey to heal, become a better version of yourself, and strengthen your relationships. Life's Journey Counseling Services, 70 Main Street, here in Jewett City, lifesjourneyct.com.
This year, Jewett City Savings Bank is proud to celebrate an incredible milestone: 150 years of helping individuals, families, and businesses succeed. Thank you to our valued customers, employees, neighbors, and community partners for putting your trust in us. We look forward to celebrating with you and to continuing the important mission we started back in 1873 to give every individual a chance to thrive. To join the celebration, visit jcsbank.com. Jewett City Savings Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Your community radio. Live from Main Street.
Mike Minarski and Paul Lash in the morning and 80s all day and night.
SNSN.
Like they always say things that aren't stupid usually. And when they are stupid, it's funny.
It is, isn't it? We finally made it. Looks like we made it. Come on, Paul. You're a Barry Manilow fan, aren't you? You're a Fanilow. Oh. Come on, I'm a huge Barry Manilow.
Good for you.
I think if looks could kill you, would be.
I know, my God. Did you see that? I got
That was a death glare.
eye jabs there. Ooh, ooh.
No Barry for me.
Dun, 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 dun. Come on, Paul. Looks like we made it. My mother used to sing that to me when she was trying to be sarcastic. She would look at me and go,
"Ain't gonna happen."
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to sing something by Metallica or Korn or
No.
the theme from Barney?
That's your speed.
Come on.
That's your speed.
It's Monday, Paul.
Yes, it is Monday. And
It's
I
a
wasn't
happy day.
grouchy until now when you started accusing me of listening to Barry Manilow.
Oh. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Really? That got your goat? Are you serious? You're offended by one of the greatest recording artists of all time?
Good.
Goodness. You are crotchety. Well, it's Monday, and that's usually what happens.
Mondays
so.
are never fun.
No.
But we can try.
I don't mind Mondays. I really don't. That's the thing. How about you? Dawn, what do you think?
Mondays mean it's back to the routine.
Yeah.
Like on weekends, I'm camping. So like it's relaxation, it's having fun. Mondays just means it's back to the grind.
Do you camp anywhere in particular or?
Yes. Sun Fox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In Lisbon. Yeah.
Look,
It's a great family campground.
I know Dave.
Yep.
I know Dave back when him and I used to work at another one in Preston.
Yes.
Together.
Strawberry Park, probably.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he was there for 104 years. And then, actually, I started the year before he did. And then he was there.
Yes.
So. All right. So I think the support lady just asked me, "Are you still with me?"
Oh.
Nope. Sorry. Sorry. I had things to do. Can't be waiting around for you.
If he texting you, yeah.
Well, because what had happened is there was a big error message all of a sudden on the board that said that Facebook and LinkedIn are going ahead and they're knocking down the quality of the stream.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I was streaming at 1080p, and now all of a sudden I got to go to 720 because Facebook doesn't like it. So that's what was that's probably what was kicking me out.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
Anyway, all right. So we are joined this morning by a lady that we have not seen in some time. How long has it been?
Probably about a year.
Really? It's
Probably
longer than
It's
that.
about a year.
Really?
Yeah, about a year, because I think I came on when my second book came out.
So you've been pumping stuff out.
Yes. I've had to do some pivoting
Yeah.
with publishing too, because
How so? Well, tell us what you used to do and tell us what you do now.
I used to be exclusively through Kindle Direct Publishing, which is an affiliate with Amazon.
Okay.
But I ran into some distribution issues in January, which gummed up a whole lot of my plans. I had events that I was doing in-person events, and I actually had to cancel one.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't have stock because I was waiting on this shipment.
Right.
And it actually took me, I want to say, 2 months to get my refund and everything. So I've kind of decided that putting all my eggs in one basket, publishing wise, was not a wise move.
Right.
I also had my fourth book pirated.
How does that happen?
Interesting question. The only place I uploaded the ebook to was Amazon. And within a week of publishing, I found it on a pirate site. And
really?
And all my books at that time.
Was it by accident or somebody tell you or?
No, I found it by accident. I just Googled the title of my book to find out where it was being sold in various places. And I didn't recognize this site as a legitimate site. And I did some research and I'm like, oh, great. And it's
obviously
really...
they like your stuff.
Well, yeah, but for self-published authors, it hurts. It not necessarily financially wise, like it does hurt financially wise, but what people don't realize is if you have your ebooks through Kindle Unlimited, which is an Amazon exclusive thing, it's an exclusive thing. You cannot have your ebooks anywhere else or they will shut you down.
Got it.
So that, that put me in kind of like a panic mode of, okay, I need to figure out what I'm going to do, because sending this site cease and desist letters and all that wasn't working. And I was like, well, I'm just a nobody.
Were you able to get it taken down? Or?
Nope. I have decided to just go.
Paul, he's like, yeah, nope.
I just went wide, and now my books, it's gonna happen, and I can't stop it. So instead of being afraid of Amazon shutting down my account, I just took my books out of KU, and now my most recent book is available through Kobo, Nook, Kindle, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody wants to pirate it, they're going to pirate it.
It's probably on more than one torrent site,
Mm-hmm.
because if you look at any of the torrent sites, you'll find books of all kinds that you can download.
Yep.
And to a PDF or anything you want, because as a reader, you can actually download a software package that'll read the book for you. I mean, it's readable via what you download. And a lot of those torrent sites are out of the country. They're over in, who the hell knows, China, over there. And that's where they are. And you probably find the same book on several torrent sites. But you have no, you can try to send them letters. It ain't going to happen.
I mean, you think about it, same thing happens with music.
It does.
Movies.
And movies, everything.
Any form of media.
Yeah. The only thing that people don't realize when they're consuming those products is a lot of times the hackers that do this, that's where they attach their Trojan horses and their viruses and that. So when you're downloading that pirated version, you are downloading those onto your devices. And
exactly.
So
yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, you don't really realize it until you talk to an artist, that puts their work out there.
Yeah.
And then you find, oh, that is damaging,
In one respect, you have to sit there and you go, oh, well, hey, somebody liked my book so much they decided to pirate it and take advantage of it. But, in the other respect, they don't realize the consequences that can happen for us. And a lot of self-published, independently published authors were finding themselves locked out of their accounts. Amazon was holding their royalties and everything. Not like we get a whole lot anyways, but still, it is definitely one of those things where it made me step back and go, okay, I need to figure more of this out.
Right.
And I now am publishing wide through Ingram Spark. So now libraries, schools, all of that can go through Ingram Spark and purchase books.
Got it. So, all right. So let's backtrack a little bit. We're talking to local author DM Foley, who, like I said, it's been about a year. Yeah, that you've been here. Yeah. Your fifth book.
My fifth book. It's called The Killer Trip.
Okay.
It is a psychological thriller. Seems to be the genre that I really I gravitate to. Everybody's like, how do you come up with these ideas? And I'm like, well,
I'm messed up.
They're messed up, yes.
No, you got to be smart, though. You got to be really smart to kind of figure this stuff out.
I love crime dramas and all that, NCIS, CIS, all of those. And I also enjoy reading thrillers, but I also, I have anxiety. So like the minute thing, my brain will turn it into like worst case scenario in 5 seconds flat. So I have learned to channel that and be like, oh, okay, if I write this scenario down and it becomes a thriller. So.
Do you find that with, every book that gets completed that you're doing anything different, or maybe something gets that you feel a little better about?
My confidence has really, my confidence as a writer gets better with each book I publish. This one, The Killer Trip, is my first one that I've written in first person narrative. And I was a little nervous because all my others have been in third person more,
Yep.
And I was like, I'm not sure how this is going to be received by my readers, but they love it.
That's something you gotta, I guess I wouldn't have thought of, because you got to look at like, okay, these are my readers and this is what they expect.
Yes. But I have a very, very good group of ARC readers that I have amassed over the last few. My first book, I didn't have that because I was just so new to everything, but they're really good at helping find potential plot holes, whether something's flowing right, any mistakes that my editor, my proofreader, and I have missed. And it helps to make a better product. And then they go, and I don't require them to, but I ask them, like, if they could leave reviews places, that's great, because it helps build that buzz. And they've been really good. I have I have some really great ARC readers.
Especially if you have that, because you're a local artist, you know, a local
Yes.
author to this area right here. So if
Yes.
if you're reaching local people, of course they generally want to help.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But if you're like like if you turn into like maybe a Stephen King, national world renowned,
Yes.
you know, that kind of, I mean, maybe people would not be as generous. Maybe they would want to bring you down.
Well, it is kind of funny because my first ARC readers were more local readers, but again, I've like amassed probably over 30 now, and they're all over the country, which is great because then I have readers in different areas who are recommending and posting about my books, and it definitely helps. And and you talk about Stephen King and other.
Yeah, I was just kind of throwing that out there as a
more prolific writers. There's a new queen of psychological thrillers, and that's Frida McFadden. Not sure whether you've heard of her. She's fairly new. She's self-published. She's from the Boston area, and it's funny because I follow her on Facebook. And I'm following her, and her teenage daughter is always like, how come we can never find your books in stores? So I was shopping at the local Walmart here, and I saw one. So I snapped a picture and I posted it on her thing. And I was like, hey, you know, I found your book and at Lisbon, Connecticut Walmart. And one of her readers commented, this is so cool that one of my favorite authors is posting on another one of my favorite authors' sites about a book in my local Walmart.
Oh.
So it was pretty cool that like a reader of mine who enjoys my books is also a Frida fan and commented that.
We used to read a lot of Janet Ivanowitz books, because what she did is book one would turn into book two. It would be a story that started off and it would continue on for several books.
Yes.
Which keeps you going back to want to see their next book. You know,
that's how the Lion's Garden trilogy started. My first book, it ended on a cliffhanger. Then it went to the second book and it ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then the third book tied it all up. But I've already had readers, you know, contacting me and saying, hey, you know, I can see you going somewhere else with this, like other. And I said, yeah, there's potential spinoffs in the works. So
yeah.
So the Killer Trip.
The Killer Trip.
That's it. So let's give here's the overview, which
yes.
Lainey Wilson discovers the past doesn't always stay in the past when she returns to Canada after 30 years. An innocent date on a past trip lands her in jail for murder in the present. As she sits in jail, she tries to remember that week. She tries to remember that week and everything that occurred, while her friends fight to clear her name back home. Her husband faces a woman trying to impersonate his wife. If Lainey is being framed, who and why? Not all things are improbable as they seem. So that is the synopsis of your latest book, which was just released, right?
Well, it comes out tomorrow. It is available.
6/6, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is available for pre-order through Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, IndieBound, and locally you can pre-order it through Bank Square Books. So in Mystic.
I'm looking at, I just pulled it up offline, and it's Barnes & Noble.
Yep.
And you can get the hardcover, the paperback,
Yes.
or the ebook.
Yes. And that is one of the exciting things for me as a writer. I love like the hardcovers with the dust jackets. And Amazon, you can't do that.
Oh. They do strictly paperback, right?
No, they do
Oh,
hardcover, but it's not with It's not worth the
Dust cover.
jacket. So with Ingram, I can do the hardcover with the dust jacket. And like, I love that personally. That's one of, I
Would
like,
you rather use the book or ebook? If you're reading for pleasure.
if I'm reading, I like the physical copy much better.
Yeah, see, now so do I. I would rather do that. How about you, Paul? Oh, wait a minute. You don't
Audible.
Really? Why?
I just like to listen to like a story.
Okay.
I mean, I've got several books on my phone I can listen to. They're all Audible because I belong to Audible, which is part of Amazon.
Yes.
Got it.
And if the new books come out, a lot of them are read by the author.
Yes.
It just makes it interesting. They make it so dramatic. If it's
Sure. Now, do you have any of your books on audiobook at all, or
Not
Audible?
yet.
or-
I'm still in the research phase of that because Audible is not one. Well, audiobooks is not something that I'm really familiar with, and I don't want to put a product out there
Just somebody reading the book, right?
that
Isn't it
isn't
basically?
done.
it's
right.
usually the author that reads the book, but
Mhm.
generally they find somebody who can really speak very well. And
Yes.
they put the dramatic. If something's happening within the book, it makes it sound dramatic.
Yes.
It's like you're listening to a radio show.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My youngest son keeps on saying, "Mom, you should do it.
Mhm.
You shouldn't get a narrator. You should do it." And again, I just haven't listened to enough books to really get that feel for it.
See, I'll work in the yard and I'll have the book in my ear.
Yeah.
Just work around the yard. I can listen to the book.
Yes.
So, I think, I don't know, just from somebody that reads a lot of things out loud,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that instead of listening to anybody else, listen to yourself. And what I mean is like record a couple of things, like on
Yeah.
we all have, these things,
Yeah.
right? So you can go ahead and, they have recorders on them.
Yeah.
And listen to how you sound and listen to how you inflect. And because really, I mean, Paul, I think makes a good point, like that, the author doesn't, because I think the author is going to, of course, know the story better than anybody else.
Yes.
Right. So you're going to know where to, where the highs are and the lows are and all the peaks and valleys and,
Yes.
where you really need to get a little excited in your voice and this is going to happen right now. And then all of a sudden it
Yes.
stops.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
And that's
So do it the way you want to do it. Because I think
Yes.
that's part of the charm.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just me.
it's just one of those things. Like even when I go home and like I'll watch this episode,
Yep.
everything, I cringe at my voice.
You want to know something? I cringe at Paul's voice. No, I don't. No, I do the same thing. I've done the same thing my entire life. Because I'll listen to it, and to me, it just sounds weird.
Yes.
That's because it's your personal.
I know, but still, it just sounds weird.
You actually have a radio voice. Your voice is, yeah, you do.
See, I listen to it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it sounds kind of raspy to me. I don't know.
See, I have a friend
I don't
who I discussed this with, and she's like,
See, I don't think you have I
she's
think your
like-
voice is fine.
She's like, your voice is fine. It's fine. You should do it. And I'm like,
You
I-
probably would get more people reading your books
Yeah.
because a lot of people listen to books in the car on their way coming back and forth to work
Yes.
or wherever they're traveling. So I think the market's there.
oh, it absolutely is. It's just one of those things of like,
Mm.
okay, I need to learn how to do it and do it properly.
Yeah.
That's
So if I wanted to write a book, what would be the steps I would need to take to write a book? I mean, if you think about it, everybody and their brother is writing a book about themselves.
I'm going to tell you what I tell every single person that says that. Like I have so many people who come up to me during events and say, I've always wanted to write a book. What should I do? Write it.
Yeah.
First step, just write it. I think what kept me from writing for so many years was I kept on hearing, oh, you got a plot, you have to outline the plot and you have to do this and you have to do that. And it kept me from writing because I felt like that's not how I write. I write literally by the seat of my pants. I have an idea and I have a general idea of the direction I want to go in with that idea. But I don't sit there and say, okay, I'm going to outline this and this and that. I just let it flow. And then when it's done, I go back and I edit, and I may delete some things and I may add some things, but I don't outline.
Does a publisher proofread it for you, or do you, or they just take what you send them
I self-publish.
by yourself?
So I have a friend who is a retired editor.
Okay.
So
helps.
I
It's always,
send,
it's always good to have friends
Yes.
in business, right?
so I give her the manuscript. She goes through it and does editing.
Gotcha.
I also have a very good friend who is really good at proofreading.
Yeah.
So then,
There you go.
and then before release, I send out the advanced reader copies. So it's, my books are being seen by many sets of eyes.
Gotcha.
And that's,
Is if you were going to write a book, would the first book be like what they call a biography yourself, all your experiences, and is that what they call a biography?
Autobiography. If you're writing
about yourself.
yeah.
about yourself.
I mean, that's what a lot of celebrities do. They write
Yes.
about all their experiences, and I'm not sure if they write it themselves, or they work with somebody who writes it for them. I don't know, but that seems to be a lot of the books that come out now. It's about this person, about that. Oh, I did this, I did that.
Yes,
That-
they're either autobiographies or they're biographical memoirs. There's actually a local author in the area who wrote not an autobiography, but kind of an autobiography, because it is about her life, but it's also about her mother's life and her sister's life and the domestic violence that they endured.
Yeah.
And it's a heartbreaking read, but it's a good read.
Right. So is it one of those that just grabs you and it's like,
It does, and it, because she's a local author and because she comes from my hometown, I think I connected a little bit more, and I was amazed at the fact that people in the community knew this was occurring.
you mean the actual
story, knew that it was occurring and did nothing. But this was way back, like this was back in like the 70s, in the 60s and 70s.
Domestic violence back then wasn't as to the forefront that it is today.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's definitely one of those stories that is just like, wow.
Wow.
I want to just kind of go back to your voice. No. But Paul jumped in with a question, so I figured I'd hang out. I want to bring up 2 points. First of all, have you ever heard of somebody by the name of Sterling Holloway?
No.
Now, Sterling Holloway is probably one of the more recognizable voices ever. Ever. And if I say the character that Sterling Holloway voiced, you'll go, oh, yeah, I get it. Now, this character isn't your typical beautiful kind of voice. It's kind of quirky.
Okay.
It's kind of, I don't know. I can't even do it, but it's one of those voices that has stayed through years that people are just comfortable. Not anymore, because the gentleman has gone and they have somebody else filling the shoes. And there's actually, this character has had about 5 or 6 different, but Sterling Holloway is the most popular person to voice Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
Okay, so Winnie the Pooh isn't really your typical kind of like,
No.
But people are so comfortable by it,
Yes.
are comforted by it, right?
Yes.
And I think, and you do have a nice voice. And Rachel said in the group too, you have a beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you.
There's really, you might get that. instead of people, instead of you saying to yourself, I don't know. I mean, like it's like there. I guess my thing is there's no typical radio voice or audio voice anymore. Back in the day when there was like Alan Freed, right? Rock and roll DJ. Who else? Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack, yes.
Right. or even on ABC, Howard Cosell. Those are very recognizable.
Yes.
It's like
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, Walter Cronkite, right?
Yes.
There are people that were, Morgan Freeman, James Earl Jones. You can go on and on and on.
Yes.
Earl Jones had a voice like, wow.
But now you think about it, now like you got a sports radio host. Jesus, what was his name? He used to be on FN, WFAN. Now he's got his own. Chris Russo.
Okay.
All right. And he talks like this, and he talks really, really fast, and it sounds ridiculous. But people listen to him and they say, "Yeah, I get a kick out of him." Right?
Yes.
His voice sucks. But there is. I guess what I'm saying is there's really no typical voice anymore. And if you ever have any apprehension of reading your own, just do it. Do it.
That's my youngest son keeps on saying, just do it, Mom. Just like you can do this. And I'm like, I don't know.
No, I agree with him.
Well, thank you.
I absolutely agree with him. So, Paul, what do you say?
I tell you, that's when I don't really read books. I listen to them.
Right, but what I'm saying about her using her own voice to voice her own audiobook.
Why not?
Yeah.
Everybody else does it.
Yeah. All right, so The Killer Trip, that is the book that is going to be released tomorrow. And can you tell us like the easiest place to go ahead and get it? And also, I read the synopsis. Can you give us a little more meat?
Well, it's kind of funny how this book actually came about. About a year ago, I had gotten together with two of my best friends from high school, and I was giving them books and signing.
Sure.
And, we were having a good time just sitting there talking about old times and everything. And a trip that we took to Canada came up and we started talking. And
so it's a true story.
No. It's loosely based on a real trip we took.
Got it.
But we did not kill anybody. Nobody got killed. Nobody,
that you know of.
Well, yeah. But, and I started, the wheels started turning and I was like, I could definitely use that as a setup and setting and everything. So it's a dual timeline. So it starts off in, I want to say 2018, 2019, because it's 30 years after. I'm not good at math. It's 30 years after 1988. And then it goes from present back to 1988 and that trip and back and forth. And it takes you through because Lainey's trying to figure out how she got where she is. She's sitting in jail being accused of this murder.
Right.
And she's like, I didn't kill this guy. And it takes you down some pretty interesting twists and turns. I don't want to give away too much of it because it's
just going back to the audiobooks. I believe that now they have them unabridged and abridged books, which means you have a long version and a short version. So you'd have to do like, if you need to do it, two different versions.
Yeah.
You could do that.
I mean, it's a pretty fast read as it is.
How many pages?
Well, I print in a larger font.
Old people. Reader's Digest.
For readers to have a better experience.
Yep.
Being a former paraeducator, I realize that it's easier for all readers when the font is larger and the spacing is better and it's on cream colored paper. I want to say it's 276 pages.
Oh, it's not too long.
Somewhere around there.
Average length, I guess.
Yeah, it's a quick read.
Yeah.
And
Probably 40 minutes, maybe hour,
About 4 or 5 hours
4 or 5 hours.
What, to read it?
to read it. Yeah.
Really?
Depending on your reading speed, too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what most of my ARC readers have said.
Yeah.
So
So an afternoon.
an afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not something, not, 1,000 pages where it will take you.
Like War and Peace.
Yeah.
Very thin.
See, I don't like when they get into that many pages. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It's too long. Takes you forever.
I have read, the thicker books, and I'm a fast reader. So, and I multi-purpose while I read. Like I'll be sitting there cooking dinner and reading.
I can't do that. I can't do that because I will comprehend nothing. I've really got to
Nope.
focus on it. Not just books, but I mean articles or something like that. I can't do it. I can't do anything else if I'm reading. I have to. And I have to have some sort of like noise in the background, unintelligible noise, like the wind blowing or something like that.
Like the air conditioner.
Yeah, the air conditioner.
There's probably some truth to that. It's just, I don't know.
No.
It feels like home. I don't know. But
It's really funny though, because it drives my husband crazy that I can read in the car while he's driving. He's like, that doesn't make you sick. I'm like, no. He's like, just watching you is making me sick.
oh my God. So I'm looking at your other books too, and that are also available to order, not just, the one that's coming out tomorrow.
Yes.
Your first one, The Lion's Garden, right?
Yes. Well, I have kind of rebranded that because I am going wide with it. And so the first one originally was titled The Lion's Garden Family Ties Book 1. Well, I've kind of switched.
That's what
that,
I'm looking at right here.
and it's Family Ties, The Lion's Garden, because it's part of a series.
Got
It's
it.
a trilogy.
Yeah.
And I've learned things in the publishing world and different things. So that one actually has a second edition that is now wide. Like I went through Ingram, and I'm in the process of doing the other two, like redoing the cover, redoing the formatting, everything, and publishing through Ingram so that it's all more conducive.
How do you know, or how do you get? I know, because I really don't know. On like the bestseller list. Is that fixed? Is it kind of fixed? Like the big authors, they got the inside track, and it's like, you know what, Steve, come on over here. You signed with us today. You're going to debut at number 1. Even if you sold no books.
The New York Times bestseller list, it's how to get on that is a closely guarded secret. Like if you Google that, like it'll say that. Like there's some speculation that you have to sell at least 10,000 copies in a week and all of that. Have no idea. I was just talking about Frida McFadden. She finally made it onto.
That's a local?
No, well, she's local to Boston.
Which is big market.
And it's mind-boggling because you don't usually see self-published indie authors on that list. Yeah. It's very rare, but she has really exploded on the market. Like her books are all over Facebook and all the reader groups and everything. She's funny. Like she's a very personable author, and she interacts with readers and everything, which is great. I try and do that too, because I like interacting with my readers. I like getting to know them. Most of the indie authors are very much like that. They want to know their readers, where you don't see that much with the traditional published. You don't see them on Facebook talking to their readers and all of that. So.
Now, has it changed a lot? Like as far as storytelling and stuff with media change? Like, because of course now people are, even more so listening to audiobooks, or they're reading them on their Kindles. They're not buying the physical book anymore. Printers are having a hard time staying. Look
No
at
book-
newspapers.
No bookstores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gone.
It is with this book.
I guess does it really affect the writer, or do you still have the same amount of people? They're just finding different ways.
I think they're just finding different ways because, like, for this book coming out, I actually have the most pre-orders I've had yet for any of my books.
This one right here, the Killer Trip.
The Killer Trip. I think I'm up to like 18 ebook pre-orders, 11 paperback, and 7 hardcover.
Sure.
So it's basically even. I would like it's. I don't see it like a huge difference between mediums.
I didn't know, like, if honestly, if some people kind of fall off because they'd rather have the book and they're like hell bent. They don't want to get the ebook just because they don't want to read it on a Kindle or an iPad or.
Well, there are still definite diehards of paperbacks and hardcovers.
I tried to read a book on an iPad. I can't do it.
It depends. Like
Yeah.
I can, and usually like if I can't sleep, I have a bunch of books on my
Sure.
phone, so like I'll read that way. But I prefer the hardcover. But talking about printing, print on demand has really helped in that, where you're not wasting paper. You're not wasting the resources because they're just printing what's being ordered. Whereas, traditional publishers, they tend to like print dozens of copies. And then if those don't sell,
It's happened to me with T-shirts
that's
for events. It's like he gets stuck with 100 shirts. It's like, what do you do now?
I got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Number one would be, how long does it really take to write this particular book? And the second question is it profitable, without disclosing anything, is it profitable to do and write a book?
Well, I will answer the second question first.
Okay.
Right off the bat, it's not profitable. If you're thinking of writing a book and you think you're going to get rich quick, it's not
gonna happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's like people on social media. I'm gonna be a YouTuber.
Yes.
I'm gonna get 1 million followers, and I'm gonna be like Mr. Beastburger.
So, but the first question, how long did it take me to write this book? Well, about a year ago, like I said, got together with friends and the idea formed, but I was still in the process of writing my 3rd book at that point. So I was finishing my Lions Garden trilogy. So what I usually wind up doing when an idea comes in my mind, I'll write like the first chapter and get it started.
And you don't use a storyboard.
Nope, don't use a storyboard. And it just sits there. But I also already had another book already started that I had already planned on finishing before this one. So it kind of like sat there until January because I had 2 books to finish. I had my 3rd book in the trilogy, and then I finished writing Derek Dream Changer. That's more of a young A paranormal thriller. And then I sat down and just like hashed this one out. So this one took about 3 months, I'd say.
Yeah.
3 months.
Is that of like writing every day or just kind of like spare time writing? Because you have a family and
it really depends. Some days I can get 5,000 words down, sometimes more.
How many pages is 5,000 words?
I
Probably goes out in her she shed and sits down, listens to nature.
I honestly don't know. And there's some days where it's like, okay, I'll start to write, and then something comes up, and like I only got 200 200 words down. Like it's just not. It just.
So writer's
varies.
block is a thing.
Writer's block can happen.
Yeah.
It did not happen with this book at all. This one, I have to say, is my most favorite one that I've written so far, because it just flowed. It came out really, like, I was like, yes, like that's the only trepidation I had about it was the first person narration, because I was like, how is that going to be received? But
so you're going to have to read the book. You're going to have to record it. If it's first person.
Yes.
It's gotta be you. I got a couple of questions for you. Well, first, there's one from the chat room from Rachel. Is this a good book this one right here, the one that's released tomorrow? Is this a good book to start out with, or should I start with the trilogy and work my way to The Killing Trip?
This is a good one to start out with, because it's a standalone. So you won't necessarily get, like, if you start out with the trilogy, you might be like, okay, like the first book, like I said, it ends on a cliffhanger, and that can either anger a reader.
Oh God.
Or it can make them want to buy the second one.
Are you familiar with the Left Behind series?
No, but I think you told me.
Did I tell you?
Like 13 or something books, and you were just like, oh my
I thought it was 4. Yeah, and then I read all 4, and then a friend of mine said, "Oh no, honey, you didn't think you were making this kind of a commitment, did you?"
Yeah.
And at that point, it was 12. And I
Yeah.
went, "What?" So yeah.
Yeah.
But I ended up reading all 13.
The Jana Vanowitz book, she's like 28 or 29. She calls her books by the number, like book 8, book 9, book 10, and it's a continuation of the story that started off as number 1.
Take the Hardy Boys, man.
Yes. Well, speaking of the Hardy Boys, Derek Dream Changer is more, it's kind of like Hardy Boys meets Stranger Things.
Okay. All right.
Like it's the first book in a series, but it's a standalone. Kind of like Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, like all of that. And it's really funny because really good friends of ours, one of our friends was just diagnosed with leukemia, gave him a copy of the book because he was in the hospital. And then he's talking to me about it. He's like, it's like the Hardy Boys. I was like, yes. Like the vibe that I wanted came through. I was really excited about that. So
Daryl says Paul would write a book called The Case of the Monday Grumps.
Yes, I will, and I will include him.
An anthology. Oh, Daryl Nadu from the Healthy Computer, School Street.
Jewett City, right next to the dog trimmer.
The dog groomer, yeah. We got a massage parlor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we have one that I know that is very much reputable over on Slater. You know, they do other things too, but then there's one that nobody really knows about.
Uh-oh.
And it's right across the street.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And the main door to get in is in the back.
Ooh.
And in red letters it says spa.
Okay. The way you just sounded, the way you said that sounded like Peanut from Chef Dunham.
It's probably a poor woman who's running a legitimate business.
What?
Probably some poor woman running a legitimate business.
I know, but it's not just me saying it. So
maybe you ought to get her on for a guest.
No.
He's like, no. No.
Lady, if you're listening, contact him. Come on. Let's find out the truth.
Truth seekers.
What's your next book?
No, actually, my next book is The Immortal Lies that I'm working on. And
the Paul Lash story.
No, it's actually a vampire story.
Oh,
everybody loves vampires.
Yeah.
And well, because I like to put local things in my books. it's kind of got the local
Jewett City
folklore,
vampires.
Jewett
Yeah,
City
vampires.
vampires.
The Jewett City Vampires.
Sounds like a baseball team.
It
It
does.
could. It really actually could be.
Yeah.
You know, it's better than the Hartford Yard Goats.
It's better than the
It'd be a-
sea unicorns.
That is brilliant. Sea unicorns is brilliant. Because it's an actual thing. You know what I mean? It's a narwhal, right? But they got this little thing hand up there of the weird 80s kind of colors. And it's like, I know people that were like saying before the merchandise even came out, they were pre-ordering their shirts and their hats. It's genius. They just need a good team. They need somebody that has something to do with Major League Baseball. I feel bad. I mean, these kids are great, that are playing, in the Futures League. But anyway.
Well, the Jewett City Vampires is a bloody good team.
Wow. Don't use them in one of your books. Oy, 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 Paul.
Paul.
That's
Hey,
right.
instead of the Wolverines, the high school should be
Yeah.
the Griswold Vampire.
Yeah.
Check out the latest game from the Grizzled Wolverines football team. They'll draw blood. They're not coming to town. Nobody. The Wolverines. Oh my God. There is it's funny you say that because there's somebody I found. I go down that TikTok rabbit hole a lot.
Oh, yeah. I try and stay away from the rabbit holes.
I've widened the rabbit hole so I can fit more things in there. And there's this one lady I found today, Sam the Vampire.
Oh.
And she claims, I will say she's a really good storyteller.
Okay.
And I don't believe it for a minute, but she's very good at what, and I'm like, really? And I'm like almost buying into it, but the sensible brain's going, idiot. It's not happening. But she does really good. So do you find, I guess in your books, is there a little alter ego going on there or on some of the things? Or there's got to be some pieces of your own personality that are in your characters.
There's little pieces of me in every single book I write. Every single book. Like there's just, you can't write and not have parts of you in there.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes like it happens, you get bad reviews, and that's where like sometimes it's like the dagger to the heart.
Because you've worked so hard on something, right?
Yeah, and it's like, really
deflated.
I don't let reviews really bother me that much.
Yeah, that's why I don't care about people calling me grumpy. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you can't let it bother you.
Nah,
You
well,
can't. But speaking of TikTok, there was a whole big blow up on Book Talk last week. I can't even think of her name, but some new author, but I think she was a child star at one point. And she wrote a book, sent out ARCs, and this one ARC reader gave her a 4-star review.
What is an ARC? A sample?
Advanced reader copy.
Oh.
So
I thought it was some semicircle.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like a sample,
no, it's the full book, everything. And so this reviewer gave her a 4-star review. It was a good review. Nothing wrong with it, but it ruined her 5-star streak. And she went on TikTok and she ranted about it and called this reviewer the B word. Yeah. And like,
it's only an 80, 4 out of 5.
It's like, it blew up all over TikTok. It blew up all over Facebook because like people were posting about it in readers groups and everything. And like they went to Goodreads, the readers went to Goodreads and review bombed her.
Probably deserved it at that point.
And I was like, oh, whoa. Like I can understand people being upset. What she said about the reviewer was absolutely wrong. Like you don't do that.
Yeah.
But she basically tanked her career before she even really started. And she has a vanity publisher, which is somebody you pay to publish your books, and they dropped her.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
There it goes.
Somebody must have been pissed off.
Like and she semi apologized but didn't apologize because she was like,
Too
it
late.
was just a joke. I'm a comedian. I'm like, no, you don't
It's like
do-
Roseanne.
Yeah.
Same thing.
yeah. Look what happened to her.
Look what happened to her.
You don't do that. And when you put yourself out there, you're going to get people who don't like what you write. They may not personally like you.
Comedian, you got to be very careful today being a comedian because what you say could really upset a lot of people, unfortunately. Not like the old days, you know?
Yeah.
Well, people get
Yeah.
offended by air.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's very tough, which is it's definitely that you have to walk a line.
do you find that, or do you feel that now you write on, under somewhat of a pen name?
Yes, it's a pen name, but
Right.
it's
I mean, we call you Dawn, but that's
Yes.
all we're gonna say,
Yes.
But I mean, your
Yes.
pen name is DM Foley.
yes.
Do you think it's better to write with a pen name? I mean, because here's the thing: if I was just thinking during this last piece of
Yeah.
conversation, if you get a book that tanks,
Mhm.
you could be Wendy Jones,
Mhm.
and you could start all over again.
Yes.
Which I'm
Right?
sure a lot of people do.
They probably have, yeah.
A lot of people do. Well, and
Stephen King.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Even his son writes under a pen name.
Really?
Yes. But you don't know. There's so many authors that have multiple pen names. Like Nora Roberts is also JD Robb.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do I know?
I've heard of Noah Robbins.
So I think even now her name is going completely. J.K. Rowling, she writes under another pen name.
Really? Now, see, I am such a Harry Potter mark. I loved the books. They were easy reads, but
Yes.
the stories were good.
Yeah.
And now I didn't know. I didn't know she wrote under another name. I mean, it makes sense.
I don't remember the
When I
other
think about
name,
it,
but she does. There's also there's authors out there who they've really like misled their readers. There was one, and I don't know her name. She faked her death.
What?
Yeah, she faked her death.
The pen name, you mean?
I'm not sure whether it was the pen name or her real name, but I'm not sure which she wrote under, but she faked her death and then came out recently that she didn't die, and there was this huge uproar about it. I was like,
is that illegal?
I would think it would be. Like, how can you do that?
I don't know. Well, first of all, if it's a fake person, then what are you gonna do, right? But if you're faking your own death, I would think it would be okay as long as you're not benefiting from it.
Well, she did benefit from it. A GoFundMe was set up to pay for her
Oh, boy.
funeral expenses and all this.
Uh-oh.
So, like,
That's
there was.
But did she take the money? Maybe.
I don't know, but like that was definitely a huge like online backlash. I'm like, whoa, the things people will go to.
Because if she started her own GoFundMe, good reason that she's probably not dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
So.
it's just like, I don't know. There's a lot of unethical people out there, which
it sucks.
it really, because it makes the good, honest people get hurt
Right.
or be
It's
looked
kind of like
at
your
differently.
book, like earlier, you were talking about your book being pirated,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's definitely like this incident that happened with this review blowing up on TikTok or whatever. Now there's reviewers who are like, well, now I don't want to review books because I don't want to be attacked. And there's this whole thing, readers are like, reviews are for readers, they're not for authors. I do agree, but as an author, I like to read my reviews because if 20 people say the characters felt flat, I'm going to take that into consideration and I'm going to like improve on my character development.
What's your worst review?
my worst review
sucks.
Close. It said something about if you can judge a book by its cover, or it definitely pertains to this book, the series, or pertains to this series, it was boring.
Okay.
That's a kick in the ass.
And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, okay, you didn't like it. It's okay. Reviews are subjective.
Yep.
Yeah.
One person can read it and love it. Another person can read it and hate it.
That's true. That's anything that in life is the same way. Subjective.
At least nobody's burned my books. Yeah.
I will tell you this. Talk about a boring book. I was reading a book. This is back when I was married. And, my stepdaughter gave me the book. Said, you need to read this. This is really, really good. Okay. My ex-wife. Yeah, it's good. You'll like it. It's a lot of action. Okay. So I'm reading. I get about 25%.
Mm-hmm.
When's it going to start? Halfway. When's it going to start? I got done with the book. Nothing happened. It was awful. You know what the book was?
No.
Twilight. It sucked. It was awful. And there were so many people that was, oh, that's a great story, and Bella touched Edward's glistening skin. Shut up. I mean, God, it was the worst read of all time. And I only got through it because I was told from people in the same house that it was a good book.
So you're a romance novel guy, huh?
And they made no,
he doesn't like. See, Twilight was more. It wasn't an action movie. Twilight was more of a romance.
Yeah.
So that's why, but he was told that there was action in it. It really wasn't.
It's nothing.
But interestingly enough, did you know that 50 Shades of Grey started out as a fanfic of Twilight?
Never watched the movie.
I didn't know that 2 years ago.
I didn't even watch 50 Shades of Black.
I haven't either.
Grey, whatever the hell.
No, I never
watched it.
Did not. Didn't do anything. Not at all.
Twilight wasn't bad.
Sucked. That's my review. This book sucked. Then there was the second one. This one sucked too. TWO. The third one. Do I need to say it again?
But that's it. Like you said, different people in different households,
right?
Different tastes, and that's why I am okay with bad reviews, because I'm like, okay, it wasn't your cup of tea. That's okay. I've read books that they weren't necessarily what I normally read.
Yep.
And okay, wasn't my cup of tea. Wasn't a bad story. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
Twilight was bad. Awful.
It's awful.
All right, so tell us about your book one more time. The latest one.
It's The Killer Trap.
Mm-hmm.
It's dual timeline, first person point of view. First person narrator. It does have multiple points of view. So like each chapter may be from a different character's point of view. And definitely has some twists and turns and surprises in there. So,
and it's one that you could read in an afternoon.
yes, you can. It's not like 900 pages.
Wait, now, where would you suggest they order it from?
If you are local, I suggest you get it from Bank Square Books. I want to promote local businesses.
Where are they?
They're in Mystic.
Mystic, okay.
In Mystic. But if you're not local, Barnes and Nobles, you can order them. Amazon, you can order them. Books A Million. And if you want to support a local independent bookstore, you can go on indiebound.org and you can search for local bookstores on there that may have it to order.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah. And like I say, I like to promote the small businesses because without small businesses.
Well, we've said it all the time, right? Support local before there's nothing local to support.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Even if it is a massage.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, we're about ready to say sayonara for today. Thank you very much, DM
Thank
Foley.
you for having me again.
No, it's great. It's great. I'm glad I saw you in that forum because I was like, oh my God, we haven't seen her in a while. And then it worked out perfectly because your new book is coming out tomorrow, but you can pre-order it today.
Yes, I've kind of been like busy writing and all that, so I haven't been online too much. Like on my socials I promote, but I haven't been going into other.
No, well, where I saw you had nothing to do with your book. You were talking about other things. So, so anyway, all right, Paul, thank you for coming by, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Tomorrow, let's see, Melissa will be here along with Kathy, and we will have the Board of Finance Chair, Alex Greslak, because the vote's coming up pretty soon, and 0% increase. No mill rate increase this year.
Uh-oh.
Next year, that's going to be different.
That sounds ominous.
Well, it's coming. It's coming. But it was bound to happen. You know, it's kind of can't really.
Yeah. Unfortunately, everything's going up.
And we have a big, beautiful field. I love it. Worth every dollar. My only opinion. Anyway, Dawn, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in.
For having me.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. We will see you once again tomorrow morning right here on SNSN. Have a good day, everyone.
News and information. Griswold, Jewett City, Plainfield.
SNSN.